Hi, everyone. Pleasure to meet you all. Good afternoon. My name is Dvir Sasson. I'm the Director of Security Research at Reco. Appreciate that everyone come. Thanks a lot for coming. And we have only 20 minutes. We have a very limited time, and I'll try to cover as much ground as possible. So let's jump in. And without further ado, let's talk about SaaS security. Let's talk about SSPM. Let's talk about all the topics that we care about. So let's kick things up through. So what is SaaS? SaaS is basically paying for other vendors to maintain and host their application on their own terms, right? We are the end users. We want to use the apps. We don't care how it works. We just want all the pain to be alleviated for maintaining that app, for managing that app. And by paying to another different vendor, then we're able to have one less pain and just be focused on the actual work. Now, the only thing that comes to mind when using SaaS app is that you don't really know, and it's kind of convoluted on who's the data owner, who's privileged, what controls do I have. So from becoming very alleviating and trying to help you to do your work, all of a sudden it poses new challenges that we're not familiar with, that we are used to tackle in a very traditional way, in controls, right? We all set up controls, we all know what we're trying to do, we all know what to look for, but what happens in case it's actually SaaS-based and we don't maintain it? So this is where I come from, and it's called the yarn problem. I love cats, to be honest, and I figured that could be a good reference for that. So the yarn problem is, how can you control what you don't manage? Think about it. I want to control these apps. I want to control the data that resides them. I have a lot of apps, and I don't know what's in it. However, it goes even beyond that. And the question is, who can actually onboard new application in your own organization? Is it the end user? Is it an admin? Anyone could just like set up and spin up their own app. What's going on in my business? Funny thing is that one question that we ask our customers all the time is, how many SaaS apps do you think you have in your organization? And the answer usually goes from, yeah, we use 10 different apps, we use 100. Usually, on average, organizations use around 500 different apps, sanctioned and unsanctioned. We're going to delve into the figures later. Another thing is that security teams don't know exactly which critical money-generating apps do they use in the organization and whether they are actually monitored or unmonitored. Think about it. How many back-office types of applications do you have in your business today that generate revenue and should not be touched ever, right? In terms of configuration or controls or whatnot. Other than that, funny thing is that certain apps actually communicate with one another. For example, if I'm using Slack and I want to add a funny GIF during a conversation, I'm using a different app within Slack. And that actually allows certain privileges to be offboarded to that integration. So it's a yarn. This is why I love calling it a yarn ball, because it poses new challenges that we didn't even think through when we started using that application. Since we're in Vegas, I can say that the stakes in the games of SaaS have increased in the game of whack-a-mole. So security whack-a-mole is like trying to face different challenges all the time, like trying to hit it in the head with different methods all the time. Every day we have new challenges going on in different businesses, and every day poses a new challenge. Now the whack-a-mole, specifically all around us in SaaS security, is mainly focused around identity-based attacks that are still a thing. Why do I care about identity-based attacks? Because it's super simple to gain access to your organization. Brute force, credential stuffing, leaked credentials, threat actors, and initial access workers will always try to find a way to gain access to organizations from wherever. VPNs, cloud accounts, leaked credentials, reused passwords. The same shtick works over and over and over. Now, it's perfectly fine to have MFAs, but what happens if you don't have MFAs on an app that you don't even know or maintain, right? So think about it through. I have a DevOps admin that decided to make his life much more easier and spun up a new application, a new tenant that I don't know of, and started onboarding users. Everyone started using that. New data is being shared internally, and I don't even know about it as the CISO. One thing leads to the other, the credentials get leaked due to a password usage, and all of a sudden the organization needs to deal with the new account compromise, leaked information on something that they don't own or maintain. It's that simple. Now, we love IDPs. I personally love IDPs, identity providers. They're doing an excellent job. But the thing is that IDPs only maintains the certain apps that are only connected to them. The challenge is about everything else that is not connected to the organization, right? For example, if my business uses Jira as a sanctioned app, there could be 5 different tenants of shadow credentials that I'm even not aware of, not going through the IDP. So here we go again. So the game of whack-a-mole, in that sense, continue to increase. I love metrics, and I love talking about metrics that I have and not metrics that I don't have. So all of these figures are like spot on. With regards to identity metrics that we've seen for the past 30 days, based on our observations from our customers, we've seen around 500,000 accounts being attacked over a period of 30 days, specifically in Entra. Large organizations are being targeted more and more and more, again, due to the very lucrative potential ransoms that are being attempted to be used against them. From our perspective, from our metrics and analysis, Entra-based identities are targeted the most, even more than Okta or Google or others. Threat actors will try to authenticate to Entra-based identities much more than the other IDPs. Now, the top 3 failure reasons are around wrong username and password, conditional access policies, which are amazing, that are blocking attacks day in, day out, again, when configured properly, and device restrictions, if a device is domain joined or not. For example, if your organization is quite permissive and allows to use certain apps without any device or IP restriction, that is the point where you need to stop and rethink it. You need to enforce much more policies in order to limit that in that sense. MFA, wrong MFA response is approximately part of 5% of the failures that we've observed so far. So it's not about even getting to the point of MFA, it's about attempting to brute force continuously and continuously and continuously. With regards to the type of data, so when we look at SaaS applications, the data that they store and hold, so organizational data is absolutely out of our control. It doesn't reside on-prem anymore. We've seen it during the pandemic. We've seen it everywhere. Everyone wants to use different apps to access and perform their daily work, and it's not on-prem anymore. Now, collaboration has been made easy using SaaS apps and IDPs. That's the future, of course. But from what we've seen, that when threat actors are gaining access to an account, the funniest thing ever happens. They will try to access as many apps as possible at the same time. Clickety, click, 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 click. Trying to access each and every app just to understand exactly what data is being stored there and what access do they have once that account gets compromised. Now, this includes trying to access intellectual property, documents, personal information, device information, everything that's laid out. Now, the danger that we're here to talk about is everything related to unsanctioned apps, right? So unsanctioned apps is a whole different story. Unsanctioned apps is something that we should be deeply caring about, and the risks that involves unsanctioned apps is confidential information. It's absolutely uncontrolled and unmonitored, and frankly, you don't even know how many users actually use that, right? Permissions are extensive, and each app is considered to be a potential security and attack vector. Now, with regards to sanctioned and unsanctioned apps, this is where it's getting interesting. So as we said, each and every organization uses, on average, 500 different business apps. From that point, 51% are absolutely unsanctioned, on average. These are absolute figures that we've seen. 20% of these apps are shadow apps, meaning that they are shadow credentials lurking around, being used, not going through the IDP. And on average, 10% are being used as a dual usage of consumer and personal apps, such as even Tinder, for the ones that do use Tinder with an organizational account. And the total number of average users per app is 9. Okay, 9 users, that's it. Now, usually, let's do the math. Let's break it down together. 9 times 250, that's the total number of potential attack vectors that on average that organizations have due to the fact that they have unmonitored apps, average number of users, and might contain sensitive information. And that's what we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve that, and I'll show you exactly how later on. So Snowflake is a whole different story. Snowflake has been, again, I don't want to talk about it too much. I'm just going to give the credit to Mandiant for doing the amazing work on that. But access to Snowflake in the original attack was obtained in November 2020 when an account credentials that had quite an extensive access got leaked using info stealers. Once the attackers were able to gain access to Snowflake, they were able to understand exactly how to replicate that methodology and target other Snowflake instances all around. Now, Snowflake is an organizational app that's being used to generate revenues, period. No one likes it when broad applications are being touched, are being reconfigured, especially when it comes to revenue making money. Now, specifically with regards to Snowflake, certain queries, such as CRUD-based queries, create, read, update, delete, can be monitored. It's not a game of lost hope. Specific CRUD queries for trying to access S3 assets from Snowflake can be monitored and could be alerted upon when something abnormal is attempted to be happening. Now, do we think that Snowflake is the last? Absolutely not. By the fact that these sort of applications are being targeted and trying to be accessed continuously, that exact methodology of trying to access account credentials and getting access to a high privilege application containing information, that's exactly the use case that we're trying to attack, to prevent and defend against. Now, also, again, as I mentioned, crucial organization apps contain sensitive information. It's generating revenues. It's complex to maintain. Also, technically speaking and bureaucracy speaking, there is an app owner. There is a business owner for that. Like, security is absolutely stopping the organization from making revenue. And again, password sprays, credential stuffing, brute force attacks, lack of MFA, it's much more common than trying to just exploit a VPN somewhere around it, right? If an attacker will try to exploit a VPN exploit, the organization will know about it properly, probably, right? But what happens if a threat actor tries to gain access to SaaS apps that are not monitored? Now, also when it comes to identity, we need to remember that it's not only the set of usernames and passwords, it could be also auth applications and third-party integrations within that specific app, right? So if I have an integration in NetSuite, for example, and it's performing automated responses, so that could be also abused and attacked by threat actors. So I'm here to also talk about our solution, our Reco solution, and of course, trying to get a bit more sassy and to explain a bit more on who is Reco, what we're trying to do, what is SSPM. So SSPM is SaaS Security Posture Management. It's a new type of approach for securing SaaS applications when not only talking about DSPM or CSPM, we're talking about only SaaS applications and the data that resides within them. The idea is to control the entire SaaS application lifecycle. So it's a 4-step lifecycle. It's comprised of discovery, posture and compliance, identity, and detection. The 4 SaaS lifecycle is something that we're trying to do the best as we can. So we're trying to, to map each and every organizational app that's being used sanctioned, unsanctioned, shadow app, whichever. We try to show what sort of configurations or compliances should be attached to it, or what recommendations should be taken in that sense. Also checking out who has access to that app and why, what are their privileges, when was the last time they used it, etc. And also setting alerts when it comes to abnormal activity coming from these apps. So it's not a game of lost hope. We are able to finally do something about it. So we're mapping everything around. We're connected to the IDP. We're showing the security policies that we can apply to. We model every type of data that resides within that app, and we show the relevant compliance. Usually, that takes a lot of time and effort. We do it automatically. Like in a 5-minute integration, just that's it. All you need is to integrate your IDP, and we're able to fully map your entire organization by the next 30 minutes, 1 hour. Simple as that. Now, this is a very automated and methodical approach that we're taking. We are checking it precisely for permissions, data that resides, misconfigurations, relevant compliances that your organization use, and then you are able to say exactly who uses what app, why they are using it, what sort of permissions do they have, what sort of data do I have in my application, when it was last used, why does that app were able to talk to that other app. So we're able to cross-check different apps that are talking and communicating to one another. Now, so that's a screenshot from our UI, which is, again, very rich, and we're able to connect to webhooks and automations and any sort of SIEM solution, source solution, automated response, ticket opening, ticket creation, either ServiceNow or Slack is also supported. So potentially, I could say that I don't care about the remediation. I want to do exactly the detection and mapping while leaving the remediation for the source solution or any other internal process that your business does, such as creating new tickets or alerting the relevant team. Now, with regards to that, so again, our mission, our goal is to secure the SaaS world, but by not fixing what cannot be fixed. We are not trying to fix the different SaaS applications. We are trying to supplement and be a layer on top of that on a global scale from the entire organization by tapping to each and every one of the applications that your business does and work with, and enable you to have one less thing to worry about. Again, alleviating stress, alleviating SaaS-related pain that you might have, and of course, untangling that ball of yarn that worries us so much. So connecting Reco and connecting and performing the onboarding is super easy. Integrations are super easy to connect to IDPs. We support plenty of IDPs. We support Okta, Entra, Google, Salesforce as an IDP, whichever, and super easy to connect it. And you are able to have full visibility on that. Now, with regards to automated responses, notifications, webhooks, ticketing systems, we got them too. Fancy dashboards, we got that. Completing compliances and showing you exactly which app exposes your compliance and shows you exactly where you need to get better in that sort of app. We're also showing that. We provide you the tools in order to mitigate and provide that configuration for that specific app. We're also having MITRE type of mapping. So MITRE mapping, attack metrics, is rather new in the SaaS app world, and we are also able to alert based on MITRE. And we also support new integrations in regards new apps that we never heard about and you use in your own organization in case you want to protect them as well. So we move fast. We are a high-velocity company. Whichever you throw at us, we are able to tackle it. And frankly, our customers kind of love us. So this is what it is. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.